All right, here we go again. Rough roads ahead. Hopefully, we can smooth out those rough roads. Buckle up. So, I got on the Walgreens system because there was no other system delivering tonight, and it was supposed to be a certain store, and then it would be here by 9:30. So I sent the order in, and it comes back. We can't deliver it at 9:30. It's going to be tomorrow morning. Well, no go, because my thumb hurts and I needed aspirin. Now I have Advil, but I don't know if the Advil even works for me. But I know aspirin does. So I ordered a couple other items to get free shipping. So it looks like it's either a hacker or a dirty cops or dirty PI that have a connection with the security person at Walgreens. So again, somebody interfered with my medicine order again. It's about shutting up, not one little bit. Don't game the world like that. You know, when I shut up, you act you do it twice as much. So don't be scamming your bosses like that. You millionaires and billionaires have been scammed by these shitty government employees that come out and then work the PI gig for decades. Thank you, Larry. They keep it going. They make merchandise. Again, if Elon did it, if Larry Ellison did it, if whatever Altman did it, because I'll use all their names because now they don't like each other. But if you all did it, you're going to hell. You have no chance of going to heaven. None whatsoever. You don't have to believe to realize it exists. Believe me. They just pick something out of the air as to why they're doing it. Oh, Larry raped his children. That's why we're doing it. No, Rick Henry raped his children. Karen Shelton probably had sex with little girls because she in that bait girl system, I guess. I mean, get real. I hear there's allegations against Rick Henry somewhere along the way, and they kind of cleaned it up for him. Besides the shit he did to me, that's even sexually motivated, right? Kind of like trying to cuck me for real. So again, this works pretty good, even though it was a fight with Colombia. It makes sense. It makes sense to offer that option. Again, right now, Mexico, Brazil, and Colombia would appreciate the option. Nothing, again, we don't have to force them to pay. You know, we want, again, there's, if we pay them, then they have to do it. And it doesn't cost that much money. And we're still going to save money over what it would cost us. Because we don't have to pay for the personnel to escort. And you know what? You know, when I read, I guess it was Homan said something about how much he has to jump through hoops to get it scheduled. So they're messing with us. These other nations are messing with us and making it difficult to schedule these flights. So we don't have to go through that because we're not going to mess with them. We're going to say, yeah, come on in. Come pick these people up. We'll have them at the airfield. So again, it's a win-win situation, and there's nothing wrong with paying them, a flat fee. You can tell them what the flat fee is when you come up with it. I mean, when you make the negotiation. Maybe based on distance, I don't know. But we're still going to save money. They're going to save face. They're going to be able to give the human rights they believe they need to give. It's just we're not at liberty to transport. And that's what you should say to them. Say, we're not at liberty to transport that way, Mr. Lula. We just don't do it. Because of the trouble we have with them. Now, your people may have better control of them. Maybe they're more afraid of you than they are us. They get thrown out airplane door if they act up. You'll show them the real human rights, right? Cops in Brazil don't play around. I don't know what they're talking about. You can go online and watch summary executions in Brazil. Maybe not under Lula. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, sir. So again, it's a great day because it's going to work out. Tariffs work for a bit, but we don't need to go with that. We just need to come up with that extra option. So Mr. Homan has an extra option for these people. And again, like I said, from what I'm reading, what Homan said, like I'm reading between the lines, that they messing with us when we try to schedule schedule the flights. They made it difficult, making it difficult. So we won't make it difficult. They come right up here and come get them, and we'll clear the way for them to land at our airfields or airports, and we'll have them all ready. Again, they're going to be in restraints when they come to get them, so we're going to have to work that whole thing out. Right. So we're going to have to work out how and when we remove the restraints. Well, I try to get aspirin because apparently they've discovered that Advil, over a certain amount, rarely, but it could cause stroke or heart attack. So I've always been lucky with aspirin. You just need to eat with it. I'm sure they interfere with my order. I tell Walgreens somebody's hacking your system each time, and I even told some guy, it could be your security people, it could be a dirty cop. Like I said, I don't know if Mr. Altman, somebody rich is involved. There's rich. Obviously, if Weinstein's involved with it, rich people are involved with it. Right. But I just pick three names because, again, they're on both two different sides of the coin at this point. And just let them know that if you're part of that, you're just going to go through hell. This planet is no indication of being, a good person or a bad person. Again, I've tried to explain it to you. I'm sure it does sound logical. If a religious system did exist, it would probably be similar to what I'm saying. I think the aspirin would work better for me, but it is what it is. God will handle it. I'm making some food here to eat with the Advil. Some butternut squash. So it was kind of a strange day. All of a sudden, my thumb started hurting, and it just got worse and worse. I got no idea. I went out shopping yesterday to do something when I was shopping. But again, there's a curse on my medical appointments that I have an appointment this week, and I need this to heal like tonight or tomorrow because it's going to be difficult to drive with my thumb like this. And of course, they're cursing me to spend money, so the only answer might be to get an Uber and spend money. You see, that's how metaphysics works and why they should be ended. I mean, ended. Just end them. Move them off to hell if you need to. Of course, metaphysically and metaphorically, of course. Metaphysically and metaphorically speaking. I learned that from Bannon. Or maybe he learned it from me. Yeah, they're gonna go hard. Just know that they're gonna go hard. They're already posturing. What I was told inside by some of the agents is the way, and again, Adam, what's his name, Shift, he is who he is, good, bad, and different. I'm not pointing a finger at him, but you know how he acts indignant even when he's doing bad things. This is the way the cops are, the dirty cops. Because they've already been talked. Some of these people have already been talked to, and they promised something, didn't deliver, and when they reapproached, they acted all indignant and yelled, and because they have a spycraft entity that protects them. So they think they're bigger than the system that exists, and maybe are, but again, it's about to change, I guess. Just that's why I say don't let them lure you into obsessing over certain things, because you have to have that bigger view, that larger view to catch them. They may actually be the people helping you fight the deep state. So that's why I say Mr. Ratcliffe and all of them have to work together. The CIA can check certain people out in the United States based upon certain activity, but they just can't use it for investigations and all that thing. If somebody's moving spycraft in the United States, CIA can look at it. You actually need them to look at it to figure it out. Like, what is this, and is it, they can tell if it was just a happenstance or somebody instructed them, that kind of thing. Agree there. So spies have actually looked at it already and said that it's spycraft. Color. There's some delicious stuff. It's like I don't usually buy this kind of stuff. I buy just the butternut squash by itself and kind of steam it in the microwave. This says homemade taste butternut squash traditional recipes made by Southland. It has a little bit of extra bird's eye, Southland, a fully prepared traditional recipe. I mean, it's delicious. It has a little bit of extra fat. Not horrible, like 2 grams per serving. But I didn't cancel it from an order, so it came anyway. Because as soon as I saw the fat, I'm like, nope. Because butternut squash doesn't have any fat. Right. I make sure it tastes better, that recipe, but. Thank you, sir. So I mean, they powered up, and that's no doubt after we figured out that whole thing. But Trump was up because he thought he was able to think quick, and it paid dividends. But I thought for a second. I said, you know what? What happened is I read that was happening like almost instantaneously, and then I couldn't find it. So I said, well, I'm just going to recommend that we do that system. I thought maybe somebody was playing with me, so that I would say something like, "Oh, the president of," because they'll do that online. They'll put something that's not really happening, and then you respond. Everybody laughs at you because it was just fake. So I thought it was fake, but I said, that's a good idea, and I designed that program. I'm thinking, please do pick them up. Right. And it works for both sides. Again, just like the bishop. They have their own point of view. Right. We deal with people like that in law enforcement all the time. Again, my point of view is middle of the road, based on metaphysics and what's actually happening as far as harassment and the effects of harassment and all that. But these people just believe that it's never wrong to have too many immigrants, right? And that's crazy. Again, what he's trying to do is save face, and what Trump does is understandable. And again, it works for good cop, bad cop. Right. But the problem is that they're gonna try to fight. At a certain point, they're gonna fight Trump like they did just now. Well, because they're trying to save face. And this is how he saves face. well, your president's going to pick you, send a plane to pick you up. And then I may have been in his head, that that happens sometimes. I'll speak into somebody's mind and they'll do it. He may have done it based upon that too. Well, when I start articulating what the issue is here in the United States, I mean, nobody said to the president of Colombia, hey, we have a protocol. We have to do that. We've had experience where if we didn't do that, they'd ride on the plane. We can't let it get hijacked. We can't be jumped on the plane. Maybe there's, maybe 50% won't do something. But again, it gets crazy in immigration facilities, especially when we go back to the Mariel boat lift and we go back to even the BOP facilities, the prison facilities, because a lot of them ended up in real prison. I mean, they'll riot in a second. And again, we have had issue with trying to repatriate, even when they're cuffed like that. They get very angry, very antsy. They don't want to go back. So again, we see the person that tried to escape Afghanistan. He's jumping on the side of the plane as it's taking off, and then he falls. Right. And dies. So again, that's the kind of mind they have. Or not all of them, but some of them. So they'll try to get up in that cockpit. They'll try to hold somebody hostage with a razor blade. But that's why we do that, so they can't get at us. Because we know somebody's got on there with a razor blade or a shank or something. It just happens. Right. It's part of the paradigm of corrections and detention and all that. That's why when I was in Indianapolis, and some guy I met owned a supplement store. He's a Air Force veteran. He used to be a bodybuilder. His wife used to be a bodybuilder. And the police came in there. And he got his holster, got his gun like way out. And he's just walking around and his holster's way out. And I'm sitting there shopping and I'm thinking, dude, that gun just said, take me. So again, you have to watch. We have to watch for certain things. And part of that is that we put people in belly chains and leg irons and handcuffs and the lock on there because we know of those type of situations, including where people get razor blades and other things past our security. So we double down with the restraints. So there's no, it's actually a requirement. There's no way to do it. Even if somebody wanted to do it for you, and I don't think they would because they know the history of this thing, they couldn't. Because it's required that we transport like that. This isn't something new. The Biden people should have been doing that. I believe they probably did. Now, the Panama flights may not have come in that way, and that may have been what the confusion is. Well, because that was a Panamanian. I think we contracted with Panama, and Panama handled it, and Panama may not have done that. So that's probably where the confusion is. But in the United States, we don't transport that way. Like I said, the only way to do that, and again, I received from ICE and other people inside, could have been Homan himself, I don't know. And they said, look, Larry, the majority of these people knew the gig was up like a year ago or more. Right. They could just self-deport. And that's the way for them to just casually leave. That would be the way to do it. And some could actually get on a plane and go, I think. Well, essentially, most of these people that actually overstayed were told, received communication that they overstayed. and that they're subject to a detention order. It's just it's so loose they don't care. You might just move to another house or something. But now they're moving quicker and they're actually deporting. So it's actually worked out well. We need to give options if they want to come get it, because you just tell them we don't do that. It's not with our officers. It is required that they transport that way. And again, they don't have to send a presidential plane. They could send a different plane. They could even, we're going to give them money for a charter. They could pay for the charter with the money we give them. I mean, I think we should pay them. That way, it's a done deal. They don't get to play with us. Right? You got your money, you come get it. Now they may not want to be paid. I don't know, because it doesn't cost much for Mexico, actually. Well, maybe they do. I wouldn't worry about paying them, because we still save money, because we don't have to pay for unless they're trying to charge us something crazy, which I wouldn't go with. I'd say you have your rate and you give them your rate. Well, we don't have to pay for security. We have to pay by the hour for those contract guards. I think you use those. I don't know who all you're using. Maybe you're using your own people. But then again, that gives us, if they're detention officers, that gives us the opportunity to put those detention officers somewhere else. I mean, they would have to take them to the airport, but it isn't like they have to go on the flight. They just drop them off and they go back to wherever whatever they were working. So we have them available for other missions. I just don't want anyone to feel slanted because maybe what do they mean they're gonna transport them? Yeah, you're gonna transport them. Thank God. Makes our job easier, right? And then they get to save face with their people, because they they stood up to El Presidente Donardo. So again, it's something we would want. Like, you could argue about that all day. What do you mean this? What do you mean that? But yeah, come get them. Makes our job easier. Makes the deportation paradigm go smoother. Right. Everything works. And again, we did make agreements for all this. So just another agreement. Don't try to think too hard about it. Right. So this agreement says that they come get them, and that's fine. And again, we're not going to mess with them. Nobody has any reason to mess with them. Right. You open up the airport, you open up the flight path, whatever it is. Come on in. Land that bad boy. The only thing you got to work out is when and where you take your restraints off. Because like I said, they're not going to transport those people without restraints. Well, you have to figure out that whole thing. It might be a matter of just creating a secure perimeter, a fenced-in area. Pull the plane into a fenced-in area. So you might have to create that. I don't know. So you have a quiet spot at an airfield or an airport. Again, there's military installations that they could land at. And then, it would be secure. But you actually should have the immediate area fenced in. They should be able to pull the plane to wherever it is. You should be able to close a gate behind it. And, all the vehicles should already be in there parked. And then so that way, it wouldn't be so confusing. Again, you do it like one at a time. It's going to take a little while. Again, if you go to an airlift, you'll see that it does take a little bit of time, and they're very careful about what they're doing generally. And it can get a little bit loose, but they maintain control. So again, probably walk them with the restraints to the bottom of those stairs, right, and have it so it's some way convenient to do that. You don't want to be bending over and all that. You might even want to put some sort of chair there. and tell them to have a seat. And then you take the leggy things off. And then go for the lock. And then, of course, if they're in the seat, again, I don't know if you see the vision that was in my head. You have one guy on each side or one guy or gal on each side. So you have two people you have three people at a minimum for the removing those chains. So standing to the side and rear of the person you're receiving the chains is two officers. And they'll shut them down if they break bad. So again, if it's fenced in, if they're going to a plane that's from their country, they'll still have bad feeling about it, but it may go a little smoother. So again, you pick some spot near the border that's securable. It's not that difficult. If you do have to build some fencing, no big deal either. So what happens in those locations is they'll be in place before the plane comes. Sometimes you can wait an hour for the plane and stuff. 2 hours. Sometimes the plane's really late. 3 hours. Actually, right before I left the Marshal Service, I got qualified to actually ride in the planes in Virginia. It's somewhere, and they qualified us. We're certified to work JPATs. Most of the time we did the plane. I think I did the plane when I was in the BOP. I did a plane escort in the Federal Bureau of Prisons. I think I did the prisoner escort, the new local prisoner escort course with the submachine guns and all that. And it was like a stress course and all that before we did that. I went with Gullibush. He was a senior officer, cigar smoking senior officer. And there was a female PA from, what country was she from? I can't remember. She may have been from Colombia. I can't remember. She was a little nice looking woman. Nice person. Right. And we were actually on it. I think the jet was actually a Learjet. Not just saying it's Learjet. So some people call all small jets Learjets. I forget. I think that the price was around $4,000 for the charter. I think $3,800 or something like that. And we went to Springfield, Missouri, the hospital of Springfield, Missouri. I can't remember how we did it. We landed, but I can't remember from there. I think somebody was there to pick him up, or I don't think we had to drive him over there or anything. Like, have a vehicle ready or something. Yeah, I think somebody picked him up. And then we rode back. And I think riding back, we had a tailwind, and it was like half the time it took. That was the first one I did. Then Rich and I, we took somebody. Where did we take? I guess it was Springfield again, wasn't it? Where was it? I can't remember. Rich and I had to take somewhere. Rich Snyder and I, and we boarded the plane at BWI, and went real smooth. But on the way back, when we had to land, that was the worst land that I've ever been with in my life. Rich and I, we aced it. We didn't cry or anything. But that plane was up and down. I'm like, what the hell? So I think I did a couple on planes, like just regular commercial planes. Right. I was getting set. I think they were set to rotate us into the JPATs, but it never happened. I left and all that. Right. First, I was assigned to the FBI, the big final FBI case, and then I never did anything after that. That was sad. I got my JPAT certification and I had to leave because they were being criminals. It's a nice patch. I couldn't find my certification or the patch. Carruthers probably stole it, right? Went to my desk. I couldn't figure it out, man. I mean, my life would open up, and I could figure it out now, but my life would open up, and they would kill it. So, like, my supervisor's wife was being real nice to me, and I had a kind of a not a weird relationship, just she's a nice woman. She was a stewardess. When we were working 9/11, all of a sudden she would see me, say hi, that kind of thing, and we had a little relationship. I was thinking, that's the kind of thing that gets you forward in life, really, right? But they killed me twice as hard. I was tracking several people that appeared to be bait at the time. I just, again, they knew if they kept me confused about who everybody was, I wouldn't probably turn in the report. So again, they had experience in all of this. They weren't experienced in investigating, even though they probably had been. They were experienced at confusing their victim. I was so close to going to the Inspector General of the fine of the Justice Department, but I just opted to show them that I was thinking about it. They knew I was thinking about it. Again, I'm not obsessed with this. This has been one unbroken criminal conspiracy attacking my life. So again, the statute of limitations hasn't even begun to run. Blame all the people that passed it on to the next group. It's all reasonably foreseeable. Again, especially little girl tells me that Shelton tells me that Doug Bettman is still in a shitty life 10 years later. I'm like, why is she even talking to me? She just screws me all day. Screws me over. Because she was going to try to do that to my life and probably was part of it. I mean, these are sick people, man. They need to be under the jail. They've killed cops. They only think twice because they're psychotic. They're narcissists. They're actually serial killers. When the thing is on to kill a cop, they get all into it. I guess kind of a power trip. Now, the statute of limitations has not run from even back to the BOP days. They're still culpable and on the hook. I even told them you have to stop so the statute can run. So you're all still culpable. I told them that like 10 years, I guess about 8 years ago. I tell them you have to stop, and then it all, everything goes back to normal. And they know it. They're just, again, they're getting paid a lot of money, given a lot of position. It's like Comey. It's like Comey and Mueller. When Mueller was sending money from the FBI to Comey, and then all of a sudden Comey's director, that kind of thing. I was told inside that Rick Henry used judicial security funds to destroy my life, and even hired people and paid snitches and all that stuff. Used informant funds and everything. Like inside, I received a blip. I know that's the guys he used to get with my wife. Because she told me. In one of our last conversations. I just kind of blew it off because I know he's a crook. No, it was like a local thing. Like, oh, we're looking for a computer from a judge's chamber. So he called my wife. You know, I've had deputies call my wife before. Like I said, somebody else did. I buried it because I just didn't want it to go anywhere. Give the guy a chance. He soon moved on anyway. But again, the weird part is when that happens, then they want to make you wrong, even if you're nice about it, because they're just sickos. Now they cursed me. That's why my thumb hurts. Otherwise, it wouldn't hurt like this. Again, I probably needed that aspirin to really get rid of the inflammation. Advil doesn't work too good for me. But they decided they wanted to hack it away or call security representative of Walgreens and have them mess with the order somehow. That's their game. Oh, if I'd only shut up, bullshit. If I'd only shut up, you wouldn't hear me talking about what they're doing, and then they'd say, "See, we're not doing anything." I've been under this thing so long. I know every game and bullshit they do, and so do you. But you just let them do it, right? And then act like you're no smarter, right? But you don't know anything. So yeah, the Advil worked a little bit, but I think the aspirin worked better. Might have to take another one. I only took one. That was pretty bad. It started. I'm like, where is this coming from? This makes no sense. Feels like it's sprained, kind of. I had a problem with it like maybe 5, 6 years ago, and I just sprayed it with magnesium oil. It went away in like a half hour. So again, it's kind of confusing. And of course, they stalk me all day. It's not because of what I said. You stalk me all day anyway. Just waiting for an order online that you can screw up. So I got to start getting my stuff back together. Start returning it from what I ordered before. A lot of stuff came out of sync of time. I made a mistake and ordered a couple extra things too. So I have to get to Walmart. I got my Amazon stuff. Probably got $150 at least of stuff that has to get returned. Well, Walmart did, and I'm not going to return all of it, but they wouldn't deliver my stuff because of the snow. And then when I tried to cancel it, all of a sudden, oh, we're delivering it, and then it comes like half a day later. They wouldn't cancel it. I'm like, that's BS. You wouldn't cancel it, and it's like 5 days late. Oh, what a day, huh? Been an achy day. Maybe tomorrow's weather and nice weather will help get this chilled out. A little bit cool today. It was actually one of the cooler days. It was weird because it wasn't temperature wasn't that far down, but it felt cold. Yesterday was nice. Tomorrow's going to be even nicer. So they're killing people by hacking. There's no doubt. No doubt they kill people by hacking and messing up their life. I don't know. It's not bad people. They're the bad people. We all know that already. We've known it for decades. Unless you're part of it, you want to play that game. So hopefully they somebody gets to Russia. I mean, if it were me, I'd tell the president, do some three-way phone calls. Make sure you maintain absolute security. Right? Call them first individually, clear it for a three-way phone call, and do some on-the-phone negotiations. Then plan to meet somewhere, wherever you can meet in Canada. Probably a bad choice, but you can meet anywhere. You meet in Camp David. Meet somewhere in the Pacific. It don't matter. Just plan to meet. All three of you meet, and you have a press release, and then you go about your separate ways, and then the negotiations will continue in earnest. But again, get to the point where, yeah, it's over. We're just going to get to we're going to get to the answers, and the aggression is over. Again, nobody violate the terms. I don't think they would. I don't think Russia and Ukraine would, once an honest ceasefire move forward. Again, they don't want 50% tariffs. That's what I do. And just announce to the world instantly that you've come to an agreement to stop active combat. And people in your nations would be tickled. They'd be happy. Again, I think at a point, Zelensky said he doesn't even care about the land at this point. But again, if you can do something to neutralize all that, it'd be much better. Come to an agreement. And again, the answer is for both those nations. Again, the leaders don't have to meet every day, but the people should be meeting every day. They should drop all that petty discrimination. Right. Now, I got something weird on my right hand. I don't know. Maybe it's the food I'm eating. He can call all the nations that are having trouble with the restraints and military aircraft and say, look, we can subsidize you coming up here and picking them up. They're still going to be in restraints, but when they get on your plane, the restraints, as I guess you could do it on the plane, or you could do it, I would do it at the base of the stairs. I guess it's not as safe as doing it in the plane. So again, you decide what you want to do. But again, they'll arrive in restraints, but they're not going to travel in restraints, right, on your plane. So again, that would be like a win-win situation. They get to save face and get to transport their people the way they choose, and we don't have to transport them, which would free up a lot of what we do. Right, it would free us up for the other operations. So again, we would still go to nations that accept our transport. I mean, this all looks like it's swollen. What the hell is that? Yeah, it's swollen. We'll try to stretch it a little bit. It might just be shortened. That sometimes does it. Maybe from non-use, because I can't think of using it in the last 48 hours. Anything other than drive my vehicle, and I know I drove my vehicle and I didn't have any pain. Yeah, that feels a little better from stretching it. Now over here, I don't know how to stretch that. Just like that. Mm. Yeah, I was feeling pretty good, and then all of a sudden this happened. They stalk me all day like devils cursing me. I should be in a nice home. I should have $1 million in the bank, and none of this would be happening to me. That's why they blocked my money, and they got paid to block my money. So when you agreed not to pay me, then they get paid, possibly by foreign governments. So again, it's a win-win situation. Well, again, they don't know how people are going to react. There's a history of insanity related to deportations. Everything they've gone through is lost, and even the nicest person could lose their mind. I think most in most cases there's no, I think, weapons on the plane. I mean, there is probably somewhere, but the people that are handling don't wear weapons because then they could grab the weapon away, even if they're restrained. Right. So it's a very detailed operation. Now the weapons do exist, but they're hidden. They're locked up somewhere. And when the plane lands, before anybody comes off, some of those people go and get their weapons. Right. Again, there's also the transporting officers. They have weapons. So there's a group of people that have weapons, a group of people that don't have weapons. Right? Anybody that handles the prisoners or detainee doesn't have a weapon. Right? So if you're in the vehicle and you have a weapon and you're a marshal, you have to take your weapon off if you're going to handle your prisoners. Right? But usually the other guy has a weapon, right? And he stays within the vehicle or stand off away from them or something like that. The other guy or gal. So again, Homan touched on that scenario I touched on before, that if they run into immigrants while looking for a criminal immigrant and they find somebody that's undocumented, unless there's some reason like, renders great assistance, and actually they would still detain them, but then separate them and try to get some authorization for them to stay, maybe. But they're going to have to detain them. They're not even allowed not to detain them because their detention, that's their ICE. That's their job. Like saying the marshals let a fugitive go. Now we've done that before. But again, it self surrenders. Well, you can't surrender. It's too late in the day. Come back tomorrow. I've done that before. That was weird. That was the weirdest thing I ever did in the marshal service. It was the hardest thing I ever did, just about telling this guy to go home. I don't think he had a home. I think he was homeless. I was like the only guy in fugitive squad. It was like, like 5 o'clock p.m. or something. And I was like, they're like, you have to get rid of him. He has to come back tomorrow. The dude wouldn't leave. I think he was homeless. I think that's what it was. Like something says, don't you wish you could go back to that moment and relive your last so many years? But it's not about me. It's about them. They just still done the same thing and maybe worse. Like, well, maybe you made the wrong choice by going here or there. I said, well, no, probably not. God probably knew that was the best life I could live. Right. If I went somewhere else, it would have been worse. So I had to get rid of that. He eventually did leave. Look, you can't turn yourself in tonight. You have to come back tomorrow. Well, I really do. I have a warrant. I understand you have a warrant, but it wasn't a serious warrant. It was just, like a probation violation. They're like, it just doesn't matter. You come back tomorrow. Trying to think if there's anything else. I guess the detention type of thing, or the repatriation flights took most of the day, and it's a Sunday. There's not much going on. I guess the Senate's starting to get short with some of it. Like I said, reduce some of the friction. Regulars. I received from them even before it went in the news. Because people smile at you all day, and then they tell me the truth. Like because I don't know. Maybe they want me to say something to try to see if I can reduce the friction and change the paradigm a little bit. Right. They'll say, Larry, this is about to happen. It doesn't always, because again, Satan will confuse it. But now they said they were getting short with some of it, and they aren't going to be independent. They're not everything. They're not going to fall in rank and file for every little decision. They're just not going to do it. I think it was senators. Lindsey. It was Lindsey Graham. Get rid of Lindsey. I don't know what it was, but it felt like the Senate. They've been talking to me for about a couple weeks. Well, again, I talked to them too, and I say, we got to get to work. If the guy screws up, impeach him. I don't, whatever. We just need somebody in there, right? And again, Hexas should realize he was being ruled, which means you made it in, but try to do better, and that's pretty much it. Well, the women in the Senate ruled you. Duckworth was ruthless. Well, I mean, really, he's had a military career. He's never been in federal law enforcement, I don't think. But you go through times like that in your career, like intentionally. I mean, just he's been military training. It's the same thing, right? Like I may do that to you in basic and AIT. They just keep razzing you, seeing how you handle it. Again, and she was serious, but she was ruling you. Again, I think once this is kind of my point of view. Once they get in there, there's just so much work. yeah, they're going to do what Donaldo wants, but there's a lot of work. And he says, well, I'm going to revive this and revive. It's going to be a lot of work if you're really a hands-on type of leader. We got a lot of work, and again, things aren't exactly like we look at Israel. All those female soldiers doing all that work. I mean, right. So again, there's a reality. I learned long ago, like I said, even before I got into the law enforcement where women were around, because when I was in the military, again, it was all male combat engineers, and I learned people were valuable, and I couldn't, I cannot sit here today and tell you that person's valuable and that person's not valuable because Desert Storm destroyed my ability to think I knew anything when it came to that. You sit around in peacetime if you're a super trooper like I was. Again, I was a good guy though. I go in there and joke around with the troops. Troop loved me, right? And but they respected me because I was really physically fit and I did the PT stuff and I even did road guard as like a non-commissioned officer and I'd race them to the front and all that. And thumb still hurts. I learned, some, just kind of jokingly, not jokingly, but not serious, but who would be valuable in combat and who wouldn't be valuable in combat, and who's most capable. But you never know. When you go to war, it could be anybody. Okay? Anybody can save your life. And there are missions like when you think, if you think like humping a straight mission, yeah, you can maybe think of muscle dude, but again, it doesn't always fall like that. Again, when you look at accuracy, when you look at marksmanship, women are more are easy. It's easier for a woman to be accurate. The less muscle mass you have, the easier it is. I'm not saying that muscle dudes can't be accurate, but you have a lot less movement. And then again, when we look at tunnels and tunnel ratting, those Hamas tunnels are pretty big, but some tunnels get pretty small and tight. Again, there's other situations where you need to take somebody and lift them up. A lighter woman would be probably better than a heavier man. There's all sorts of team related tasks where a woman would be easier than a man. Again, I'm a good guy for women. I should have been married in an instant. These people are very evil. They've been able to do this another 20 years. Well, again, if you, I myself said the progressive programs went too far, so I'm not this. Again, I believe it's somewhere in the middle that works the best. And again, because liberals do things better than conservatives when it comes to some things, and they're just not. It's not useless. I mean, again, honest liberals and again, honest conservatives. There's a whole crew of dishonest conservatives and dishonest liberals. Well, the fact is, if you focus on the mission and getting all these, again, we have a lot of stuff going on the border combined with the military. There's a lot to do there. There's a lot to again think about to succeed. It. You're not going to have a lot of time for all the fluff. There's a lot coming down the pike. Now, we're looking at a peaceful world, and hopefully Putin follows through, and Zelensky follows through, which would be nice to get these wars over with. Very sad, very sad. That might lighten it up a little bit. My hope is that we can get to the point where we all do like the training together again, like the Russians and the Americans do training together. So again, maybe under Hegseth that might start up again. Because once the wall came down, the Russians and the United States held a couple exercises together. So hopefully we can get to that. And we can even include the Ukrainians. It doesn't mean, again, there's a lot of bad blood and we have to get past that. All right? But the insanity needs to stop. It's just pure insanity, pure gambling. Lucky 7, we're going to win next time. Again, it's possession of the mind. CIA itself could have possessed Putin to keep going. They got power like that, which is, again, a form of anti-power. Saying that Putin shouldn't do certain things and then willing him up to do it. Maybe psyoping for him to do it. So it looks like the day turned out all right, especially if we get to the point where we use that "you come pick them up" thing and it works. Agree to the usefulness of Horowitz, but I don't know if he sat there and fed you information for the last 4 years. You make your decisions. I'm not going to make them for you. But in my experience, his office deep stated me and psyoped me, actively psyoped me with an investigation I asked them to conduct. But, if they provided you with some sort of assistance and you feel like you owe them, that's fine. But I don't think you'll investigate deep state. Again, the Homan, I think, let the cat out of the bag a little bit today or somewhere. They're trying to talk to the Trumpian people about it. Essentially, we're only going to get so far in the deportation. We don't know what that point is, but we got to get these numbers down. And when those numbers get down to a certain point, again, these people, like Homan's been doing it for for many years. And there's people in ICE, and there's people in CBP, and people in the board, and Mike. What's Mike's name? Mike Banks or something like that. He's been doing it for a lot of years, so they get a certain feel that we have it under control. Then we might go in a little bit different direction. Just not to say give up the fight. It's just there might be no need to go as hard and as fast as we were. Again, it's the idea of getting the situation. It's out of control. We want to get it under control. Crime will still exist. We'll still have immigrant crime because it just happens. Right. But we'll get it under control. It'll be something we can manage. But again, it's not now. We can feel that it's out of control. Again, we're going to shore up systems. We're going to invent it like today. I mean, we accidentally invented a system. You got chocolate in my peanut butter. You got peanut butter in my chocolate. Make a Reese's Pieces out of it, or a Reese's cup out of it. Right. They're arguing about how they're going to transport. That's a great idea. It makes both sides win. Again, we can control costs a little bit with that, but we can. And again, they may not want to take money. I don't know, but I'd rather like pay something and say, "Hey, we paid you. You're supposed to be here." Have a contract, so they feel obligated to come pick them up and they don't cancel it. That kind of thing. Because again, they were messing with us. I think a little bit too. They're razzing us. And apparently, Homan said it's very difficult to schedule these things, so they're making it difficult. No, we won't make it difficult. Come right on in and get these people. So again, that worked out. Hopefully that continues. Hopefully we can find. Again, I think three nations that would take us up on it would be Mexico, Brazil, and Colombia at a minimum. I'm sure they don't use a presidential plane. I mean, they can use military planes. They just don't want them transported like that. Right. So they got plenty of planes in Brazil that they can use. And then, they get to transport them the way they want. And then we get them out of our hair. So again, I think that's the answer, really. Like, when do you stop deporting? I don't say we stop deporting, but I think when we feel it's under control, and that's, you can feel it, you can see it. We see that we have some control of what's happening. Then they'll probably, back it down a little bit. It's just how things work. But again, that's not today. It may not be anytime in the near future. I mean, I think the court has still ruled. They ruled DACA is an illegal program, but they ruled that it has to stay for some reason. A statement of facts of what happened. So if they know who brought them here, they have to tell you who brought them here. And again, they may not tell their parents if it's their parents, but again, they are to be questioned, and or I guess they could just submit a statement of facts. I just don't know how you want. Again, their attorney could do that. I guess they have an immigration attorney. Right. All right, it is what it is. I'm gonna go. Stay peaceful.